The next question I get asked a lot is, you have a 60-meter floor, a runoff over say 12 meters, say, and I always try to use expansion joint.
Yeah.
A lot of clients do not like expansion joint because they think it's probably too big, but as we said, I use one that I think will work for my clients. But I want to get onto that question, but what I want to ask is, a lot of guys think if you use DITRA mat over that floor, you do not need to use an expansion joint.
A common misconception, if you like. DITRA doesn't replace the requirement to use movement joints. And movement joints should always be continuous as well, so they should always be through the slab, through to the tile surface as well, should be respected, if you like, in the tile finish. And using the same example, so if that was a 60-meter floor, 60 square meters, you'd expect to see an expansion joint if there was underfloor heating.
Yeah.
BS 5385 Part 3 would state that tiled area shouldn't exceed 40 square meters for a ceramic or natural stone product.
Yeah. And what length? Because we used to hear, what the company I used to work for used to say within, what, 8 meters run?
So the maximum length shouldn't exceed 8 meters, and therefore then the width would be 5 meters, because we always need to stay within 40 square meters.
Yeah.
If you've got rectangular shapes,
yeah.
Maximum length should be 8 meters.
Yeah. Yeah.
For example, hallways,
yeah.
Those sort of buildings.
Yeah. If you notice, anytime you go into a newly screeded building, what practice we were saying downstairs is the doorways.
Yeah.
And that's where we tend to try to use as much as possible in the doorways, because if you put a tile across from one door without even cutting it, more likely the crack is, even if you use DITRA, if it's, as you said, if it's too wide, it's still gonna crack.
Yeah. A door threshold's just as important to make sure that movement joints are used. I guess in a domestic application or an area where there's sort of low traffic, a profile like this would be perfectly fine to use. This is Dilex BWS, 5mm wide. It's available in different colours, obviously, to match the grout joint, but that would be perfectly fine to use in a door threshold. Yeah. And obviously, once the door's closed, you wouldn't see the profile anyway. Yeah. In conjunction with DITRA.
And that's why I use. So, guys, if you see many times, you see this. This is why I like this one. As you said, the profile is almost, I use a 2mm joint, something 2.5mm works out too, and that's 5. So if you get a similar grout to it, sometimes and it's underneath the door, even if it's not underneath the door and it's somewhere where like the kitchen unit is going to be, you're only seeing a bit of it, then you're not really seeing a lot of this.
If you have got a change in substrate at that door threshold, it's quite unusual, but if you have got a change in substrate in the tiled application, you may be better looking at something wider, especially if it's something, say, from timber to concrete screed. We do a wider version of that called Dilex BWB. If it is a heavily trafficked area, then there's options with metal anchoring legs, and that's obviously going to protect the tile edge if the floor's mechanically cleaned.
Okay.